Should you give your child an allowance? Some people believe that giving kids allowances will only lend them to then spend more money, but that's not necessarily the case. Financial expert Dr. Judith Briles joins us live in studio this morning with a look at the pros and the cons of giving allowances. We talked about this a few years ago.
We did.
So I started incorporating this into my now 6-year-old's routine, and she loves it. She really looks forward to it.
They're into it. Well, once they get into money,
You bet.
it hits. But there's really good stuff to it. And the question also with allowances, should you or shouldn't you? And when do you know they're ready?
Okay, so give us some tips when you know they're ready.
When they're not ready, they know that when you go to their favorite McDonald's or Wendy's or Jack or whatever it is, that you have to actually pay for it.
Right.
It's not free. That's a hint. Secondly is that they know that 5 pennies, for example, could be a nickel. And the same, and that they know that a nickel is actually less value than a dime. They'll go for the shiny. You know, you give them a shiny penny, they'll think that it has more value sometimes than a dull nickel.
And generally the age that they determine those
A good
things?
3-year-old. But you can start, if they're into it, you can get younger, but really a mature 3-year-old will start getting into it. And I sure saw that difference starting it just this week with my grandson, who is moving into the mature 3-year-old.
And if they have an older sibling in the family, they see them getting an allowance.
Absolutely.
So that's a big
Well,
deal.
that's the mini-me thing. I'm going to do it.
Everything happens differently when you have that. I want to talk about what we have in front of us, because we have a couple of different ideas, and I love these clear big jars that they keep in their room. Tell us the theory behind this.
That's my favorite. I like different sized jars, and what I brought along is just some examples that we have. Like this is a pretzel jar.
Big old pretzel jar.
Big old
Instead
pretzel
of throwing
jar.
it away. You bet.
And it has savings on it. And Ryan is 3, and actually his name is in Ryan. But the thing that's important is Ryan did this, and
all by
parents,
himself.
All by himself. And parents tend to want to neaten it all up and do all that. I think you need to turn it loose and know it's going to change. And he slopped it all up. We had some old catalogs. You can find catalogs. You can find in your, the Sunday throwaways.
Some of their artwork
pictures
from school. As you have here.
Yes, we have. We did the spending jar has a dinosaur.
Let's say really quickly what your 3 different jars are and why you've chosen these 3.
We have savings. We have savings. That's a big one for lots of money, and there is money in here already. And then we have spending, where we go away here, and then we have giving, sharing.
We're sharing. So the 3 S's.
The 3 S's. And I like to do things in the same letters so it comes
so they
with
can remember.
They can
Half
remember.
of the money you give for an allowance goes in the saving jar. Is that right?
Exactly. What we do is Ryan, and here's the formula that I give the kids, and we'll go through the pros and cons. But I give them, and I'm the allowance payer. Grandma gets to be that, but $1 a week.
Okay.
Per age. So he gets $3.
If he's 3 years old, he gets $3 a week.
So what we do is we start to give them about the sharing, whether it's to a charity or for
of their
something
choice.
faith-based. It's charity because it might be animals. It may something. So 10% of that goes into that. So what I do is I'll give them two $1 bills.
Okay.
So it gets $1 into savings, $1 into share to spending, and then 10% of the 3 or 30 cents goes into the sharing jar.
Okay.
And then the rest gets divvied up between the 2.
Okay.
But he's really into it. What I like about this is they can open them. The kids can get into
play with it.
They like to put their hand into it. They can peel them off. And I'll tell you, Ryan had these.
Oh, that's great.
He was going like this last night.
That's great.
And they play around. Now, the pros, here's why I like the allowance
Quickly,
thing.
let's talk about the pros and the cons.
It talks about money. I grew up in a family we didn't talk about taboo, and you need to start talking about money. You talk about money. It looks at what their spending habits are. The gimmies is an issue. If you really want it, like Ryan wants this Hot Wheel, he knows it's $20. So we are now saving $20 exactly, and it begins to build that foundation. The cons of it are that maybe they're not ready for it. It gets too out of control, and they always think, well, this is mine, and then you have to give me more money because I want to go. So those things all come into play. Now, what you brought was your stuff.
My dear brother, he's so sweet. He made these for
which
the
is
kids.
fabulous, right? But here's what's wrong with them. They're glass.
I won't tell him. He's not watching.
They're glass.
And so they can't play with them, and if they drop
them,
they might break. But we just
nothing in it.
We put this up on a shelf so that they can see
and
them.
they're pretty.
And he added a 4th, which was invest.
Investing. Yeah.
Which is a good idea. Maybe a little bit older when they're teenagers or something.
And investing comes along with saving also. But with a younger child, they're going to think spending, saving. Spending is what we can just go do right now.
Yes.
And saving is something maybe I want something a little bit bigger.
Right. Judith, thank you. Such a great idea.
You're welcome.
I love this.
It's great. It works great.
Okay. Thank you. Chris?
Can I have the spending jar, Nat? Can you?
Sorry.
I want the spending jar, please. The $1.50, I'll take it.
Child. Come on.
Speaking of investments, I've advanced a little bit in the way I invest, and so have you at home, I'm sure. Live now from Wall Street, we have Deborah Costin joining us with the latest on how the markets are doing this morning. How are you?